Currently, there are reports that the tight end is focused on a limited number of teams and intends to showcase his skills to them before the draft. The Jets, Bears, and Colts have been some of the teams mentioned, and it is understood that the Saints and both Los Angeles teams are also involved in the competition. I have great admiration for Tyler Warren. We've discussed him before, and I believe that, although I don't want to claim I was ahead of my time, I was more open to the possibility that the Bears would select him at the 10th pick than many fans. I still see that many are uncertain, which is entirely understandable, as there is an impression that there are other, more immediate priorities. However, I also think that the Bears' tight end situation, in addition to K, has been a challenge for years, and incorporating a versatile talent like Tyler Warren may not only improve that position, but also elevate K's performance, while providing an offensive option and flexibility in the future if there is a need to alter the strategy regarding K. This player contributed in various ways to Penn State's offense, proving to be a good blocker, an exceptional route runner, and excelling after receptions. He was used in the backfield, occasionally receiving passes, and even had a wildcat play for short yardage conversions. He truly shone last season, and although I have some admiration for Durham SMI, I wonder if he would fit as a tight end 2 in 2025. Probably not. To me, he would represent a replacement for Mercedes Lays, a third tight end who would be used for blocking on about 25 plays per game. If he needs to catch some short passes, that would be welcomed, but he's getting $2.5 million and isn't here to be a player who will change the game offensively. Tyler Warren would be, or at least has the potential to become, a true game changer in the NFL due to his versatility as both a receiver and an offensive piece, which I think is a more appropriate way to describe him than simply as a tight end. I believe he could be aligned in a more open position and catch deep passes against lower defenses. Certainly, tight end is not the number one priority or one of the main priorities for Chicago, but make no mistake, it is a need. They need to add a player at that position in this draft, even if they're not looking for a high-level starter, which Warren shows promise to be. It's essential to include a player at this position. When evaluating the possibility of selecting a tight end, it's important to understand that, while this position may not be the team's top priority, there's a clear need to add a player in the upcoming draft. Even if the goal is not to secure a high-level starter, adding another option becomes essential. The past seasons have highlighted struggles with the current roster, revealing an evident gap in this role. It would be beneficial to have a second tight end who can contribute significantly as the team prepares for training and the regular season, rather than relying on the uncertain possibility of adapting a player for this role. Whether it's a specific prospect or another alternative, acquiring a second tight end could greatly improve the outlook for this position as the season approaches. When evaluating the idea of selecting a tight end with the 10th overall pick on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 representing total aversion to the concept and 10 symbolizing absolute excitement, I would give it a score of about 7 or 8. While this may not be the ideal scenario, there is optimism about the potential contributions that a player at this position could offer. It's true that tight ends can take longer to develop, but there are exceptions that can make an immediate impact. Although it's unlikely that a rookie will accumulate 1,200 yards, considering the broader array of offensive weapons available, there is still a possibility that he could step in as a competent starter, if needed, or effectively complement the existing players. The approach of selecting the best available athlete continues to prove effective, and there's a strong argument for considering that a player could be the best among those available at the 10th pick. In my opinion, he has the talent to be among the top 10 in the draft, so acquiring an athlete of that caliber at this position would make it hard to question the decision. In several situations, I would be genuinely excited about this option. However, upon observing the coach's view of the mentioned player, I was a bit surprised by the coach's candidness in sharing his thoughts on him. It's not typical for coaches to make such open comments about specific prospects a month before the draft, which brings an interesting dynamic to the discussion. It's fascinating to get this impression from the coach regarding the player, especially considering that many of them aren't usually so open during this pre-draft period. When asked about the player, he described him as the true essence of a football player. I always recall comments about how challenging it would be to face a player of that stature. He stands out for his grit, being intense in both blocking plays and runs. The fact that he can be placed at the line of scrimmage and used in some creative plays is something, according to one of the coaches, that really stands out and could present problems for a defensive coordinator. The interview was quite interesting, and many have likely already seen parts of it on social platforms. The coach seems to be quite innovative with the player, and it's noteworthy that the defensive coordinator, when reviewing the footage, said that this athlete would be difficult to cover, as he has the ability to play multiple roles. The coach mentioned that the team gathered to analyze approximately 30 of the top prospects, and this player was included in that list. The coordinator commented that the player presented unique challenges, which ties into the coach's reputation for creativity, as he made a name for himself by utilizing different player profiles in his formations. It's worth noting how he maximized the performance of a previous player. The athlete in question, being more versatile, could offer even more to the team. So, if the pick falls on him at the 10th position, there shouldn't be any complaints. If they choose this player, it's an indication that the coach has a solid plan to tap into the player's full potential, and it's essential to trust that decision, considering that he was hired for his offensive competence. If the coach sees value in this player and decides to select him, it's a sign that there is a well-thought-out strategy in his mind. He could get a lot out of him, and I believe there must be some degree of confidence involved when considering a player of this magnitude. After all, we brought Ben Johnson in for his offensive ability, right? If he shows interest in Tyler Warren, I need to feel that, at least a little, he has a plan to utilize him effectively. Moving forward with the draft discussion, let's address an unexpected position that could arise with the 10th pick. Stay tuned, as we will be sharing the latest updates on this soon. But before that, let's talk about the excitement of spring baseball, which is already in full swing. This is the perfect time to add your favorite players to your lineup. Whether it's analyzing strikeouts, runs batted in, or points in the first inning, you can choose more or less to increase your chances of winning up to 10,000 times what you invest today. Yes, you could turn $10 into 10,000. There's nothing like spring, with the weather warming up and the baseball atmosphere taking over. It's truly a great time, so why not get involved in the excitement? Build your lineups today and choose from the available stats. I have a small lineup suggestion with 2 players, Kyle Tucker, whom I trust to hit a home run, and Joey Estes, whom I'm betting on for his allowed hits. I really like this combination. It's a solid pick for Tucker, who's a bit harder to reach, and a more favorable option for Estes, who balances things out. Don't forget to check out this lineup and create several configurations. If you sign up using our link and the code on the site for your first lineup for just $5, you'll receive an extra $50 to play, regardless of the outcome of that $5 lineup. So, take advantage of this opportunity now. Returning to the topic at hand, would the team consider selecting a cornerback with the 10th pick? Both commentators from a popular blog suggested that the cornerback position should definitely be considered early in this draft. Here's what one of them observed. He highlighted that cornerback is not a position he would rule out for a high pick if there is a highly valued option available. Recently, a blog emphasized that the cornerback position should be one of the priorities in the discussion of the next draft. A notable commentator mentioned that the cornerback position should not be ignored for a high pick, especially if there is a well-rated option at the 10th position. Players like Will Johnson from the University of Michigan and Jaden Barron from the University of Texas may be available, and therefore their possibilities deserve discussion. While this is not a definitive report, the commentator's observations generally indicate that something is being considered, and it might even suggest that someone on the coaching staff, like the coach, might be particularly interested in cornerbacks Johnson and Barron. For those following along, if the team decides to select a cornerback this year, after these 2, the drop in quality is significant. While Maxwell Harrison is receiving attention for his speed test performances, his on-field play hasn't been as impressive, as he allowed many completions last season at the University of Kentucky. In contrast, Will Johnson is an exceptional player, despite having dealt with an injury that limited him to only 6 games last year. In 32 games, he recorded 9 interceptions, resulting in a turnover every 3.5 games, and he wasn't often targeted during plays. Jaden Barron, on the other hand, had a standout performance in recent years, excelling as an outside cornerback, earning the Thorpe Award with 5 interceptions and 11 tackles last season. When analyzing these two athletes, the choice comes down to what each team prefers. If the need is for an outside cornerback capable of playing both man coverage and zone schemes, well, Johnson stands out as one of the best options alongside Travis Hunter. Barron, being more versatile, can play as an outside cornerback, but is better suited for zone schemes. Additionally, he can be an alternative for the safety position, which is also a need for the team, and in an emergency situation, he can play as nickel, as he has had experiences in various positions during his time at Texas. Therefore, the final decision will depend on the specific needs of the team. The coach's coverage may indicate that he could act as a safety, a position where the team needs support. Also, he has the ability to play in some nickel situations, which may not be an immediate need, but could be useful if the team faces a challenge. His experience in various positions during his college career suggests that the final decision will depend on the type of defender the team is looking for between these two options. Both are certainly candidates to be selected among the top 15 in this draft, and the team is positioned to make its selection at the 10th position. If the decision-makers at Hallis Hall conclude that the need for a defender is greater than many imagine, these two names will likely be at the forefront of draft discussions. Recently, a blog about the team brought up the key needs for the draft, highlighting the defensive position as the second priority, which surprised me. The article noted that the quarterback position doesn't receive the attention it deserves on social media. Currently, the team has a standout defender, but that's it. The blog also commented on the emotional challenges of a player, while another remains solid in his role. The team not only needs more depth at the defensive position, but it's crucial to have someone to support the key player every Sunday. The point is that the team should consider moving forward with this player. However, if you've been following this conversation throughout the offseason, I think it's worth giving the player one more chance in 2025. I've witnessed his high-level performances in the league. It would be different if everything that happened last year, including the Hail Mary play and others, had occurred without consistent performances in the 2 previous years. In that case, I would understand the hesitation to keep him, especially considering concerns about his maturity. But he was a second-round pick and, in the second half of his first year, showed remarkable progress. I believe that, even at times last season, he had positive performances. I mean, he managed to record 6 interceptions and 28 passes defended. I recognize that he's often targeted, mainly because the key player isn't facing the same level of pressure, but he has the ability to make important plays. Although he allows some completions, when he's focused, he has the qualities I look for in a number 2 defender. On one hand, I prefer a player who rarely allows completions. That's the key player. On the other hand, I value an aggressive defender who can make plays. He shows a talent for impacting the game. Despite allowing some completions, when focused, he presents the qualities I look for in a number 2 outside defender. On one hand, I appreciate a player who rarely allows completions, as is the case with the key player. However, on the other hand, I value a player with a bolder mentality, similar to the young athlete. It's true that he can be beaten on some plays, but he has the ability to create opportunities for the ball, something we've already seen the other player do. He has the necessary skills and has already shown his potential. The challenge is whether he will be more consistent and, more importantly, mature. This will be his 3rd year in the league, and the NFL demands a lot from its athletes. With a new coaching staff and the arrival of an experienced former player, there will be no room for mistakes. I'm eager to see how they can make the most of this player's talent, as I continue to believe in his abilities. He has good size, over 200 pounds, is long, athletic, and fast. When focused, he's a good and determined tackler. However, lack of attention and maturity are my main concerns regarding him. If the new team decides that it's necessary to part ways with players like him, I wouldn't be completely against that idea, but it would be ideal for them to keep him during the off-season program and see how he behaves. It would be frustrating to discard him prematurely and then see him shine on another team, as that's something that could really happen. Moreover, if they opt to select a defender early, it might be worth considering the possibility of trading this player. One of the reasons I hesitate to go down that path is that his reputation in the league isn't the best. People associate him with incidents during games, and I wouldn't trade for a player like that. Getting just a sixth-round pick doesn't seem advantageous. I'd rather keep him and see if he can turn the situation around, as we've already seen his potential in action. He didn't just have good performances occasionally, but he also had standout games and stretches in the NFL. Additionally, if things don't start well this year, another player has shown good performance and would be another candidate to consider as a potential long-term addition to the team. Throughout the league, there have been demonstrations of notable performances in the National Football League. If the season doesn't start off well this year, another player who has already shown effectiveness is being considered as a potential long-term starter for a particular team. There is a positive outlook regarding some athletes. They wouldn't be bad picks. The 10th overall pick seems to align with these players. However, when evaluating both value and need, it's clear that the cornerback position isn't among the most urgent, suggesting a preference for exploring other possibilities. The debate has arisen about the chance that this team might offer a new opportunity to a specific player next season. The answer seems to be positive. With a new coaching staff on the way, there's excitement to see if they can maximize his skills and improve his performance. This is a crucial moment, and there's curiosity to see if he can achieve success. The talent is evident, but the challenge lies in the mental aspect. The key question is whether he will be able to focus on the right elements. There is hope that this will happen. Discussions and rumors about the draft will continue in the coming weeks, and coverage of all developments will follow suit. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. A video has surfaced that has fans and analysts alike buzzing with anticipation. In an unexpected revelation, Chicago Bears head coach Ben Johnson alluded to a disturbing situation within the team's locker room. While the video only lasts a few seconds, the impact of Johnson's words is sure to reverberate throughout the NFL. There are players contaminating the culture of this team, he stated, leaving the viewer immediately wanting more. His words raise crucial questions that no one can ignore. Who is he referring to, and what does this mean for the Bears' future? This isn't just a slip of the tongue. The tension within the Chicago Bears organization seems to be mounting, and with Johnson's appointment as head coach just months ago, the stakes have never been higher. Known for turning around the Detroit Lions offense in spectacular fashion, Johnson was expected to bring a similar spark to the Bears. But now, it seems like there are deeper issues at play. The phrase contaminating the culture is loaded and could point to a variety of locker room problems, from player behavior to internal conflict. Johnson's cryptic comment has left many speculating. Is this about a few individual players causing division? Or is it something systemic affecting the team's overall dynamic? The controversy surrounding the Bears' locker room culture goes beyond just a few disgruntled players. The question now is whether this issue can be rectified before it damages the team's prospects for the upcoming season. Could these tensions derail the progress that Johnson has promised to bring to the Bears? As the NFL world reacts, rumors are swirling about which players could be at the center of Johnson's comments. Is it a star player struggling to adjust to the new leadership? Or are there deeper rifts between veterans and newcomers? The speculation is only fueling the fire, with fans demanding answers. Johnson's leadership will be put to the test, and the direction of the Chicago Bears could hinge on how he addresses these internal issues in the coming weeks. With training camp fast approaching, all eyes are now on Johnson and his ability to confront the growing storm within the Bears' ranks. Fans are eagerly awaiting any official response. But for now, the burning question remains, who exactly is contaminating the locker room culture in Chicago? That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.